Yeah, I'm going to do a walkthrough of my Tidewater 2500 Carolina Bay. I have 2 years on this boat and almost 500 hours. And when I bought this boat, a video like this didn't exist. So I felt like once I got a little more experience, I'd pull a video like this together and hopefully help somebody else out. I'm going to walk through what I like and what I don't like. I'll talk about the modifications I made in this boat and just kind of walk through my thought process there. If this video helps you, please consider liking and subscribing. This channel is all about making lifetime memories on the water with great friends. A couple of fishing tips, maybe a beer or two. If that sounds like something you're into, check out my channel. Hope you like it. Let's start with the brains of the operation. This is a Simrad Evo 12. On the Simrad, I have two different cards. I've got a Florida Marine Tracks card in here, and I've got a near shore card from Strike Lines. I love both these cards. So something I really like about the Florida Marine Tracks, it gives you these red lines, these navigational lines, the routes, which are your low tide route. So far in this boat, if I followed that line, I've never touched bottom, even with the jack plate down. You know, these are all options that you can turn on. I obviously have on the option there for the yellow lines to be turned on in case of a hazard. Really cool. The dash line tells me it's a no wake zone, so I can be extra careful. In the manatee zone, I have the South chip, Florida chip. It was 500 bucks. You can buy all of Florida for $600. It's a steep price to pay, but there's a ton of features in this chip that I didn't see in other chips, and I'm a huge advocate of Florida Marine Tracks. Great chip, guys. So something I'd point out about my dash layout here, could have fit a 16-inch Simrad, but this was a boat show boat and it wasn't cut for that. The other thing is my phone, the charger is down here. The benefit of the charger being down here is that it's not getting baked in the sun. It does catch a little bit of shade. However, the negative far outweighs the positive. If I have my Navy Onyx on, I obviously can't see it. My solution to that was just this cheap mount here. You can see it's already breaking down, but it's still serving a purpose. So there we are. A cool aftermarket modification I added was this First Mate, and I'll link a video by Ken Mercer at the end of this to explain a lot more about the technology in this First Mate. It's just a wireless kill switch. Keep it in your pocket. This baby has gone through the wash a couple times and it's still working great. So hats off to First Mate company for a quality device. But it's got some anti-theft technology in there and some other things. So like I said, I'll link a video. You can check that out. Ken did a better job of explaining it than I ever could. Right here I got my wireless switch for my power pole. I'm super happy with PowerPole as a company. I actually destroyed that switch the first time I changed the battery, just user error. Called them up and told them what I did and wanted to buy a new one, and they wouldn't have any of it. They literally just sent me a new one free of charge. And I think if you go online and you see PowerPole's reputation, it's their reputation precedes them. That they definitely came through for me. This boat's got some great lights. I've got aft and forward spreaders, and then these courtesy lights are blue. So at nighttime, you don't lose your night vision so bad when those are on. Really enjoy that. It's a cool feature. This control right here is for my interior lights. And I gotta say, this switch stinks. I know they went away from this in other years. This is a 2021, like I said before. This switch, I'll put in the comments what it is. I hate this switch. It's really flaky. This is the Yamaha Command Link. It comes standard, but it obviously gives you all of your engine detail. It gives you your gas. It gives you your economy when you're running. If I'm running 3,800 to 4,200 RPMs, I'm getting just over 2 miles per gallon. It's got trim indication, all of your engine information right here. On this panel, you got your basic switches. One thing I'd mention is I've got a raw water washdown that comes right out of the back here, which is super convenient when you're out throwing your bait casting net and getting all filthy. I do have a USB plug up here, which is really convenient. You can stick a phone in the cup holder. The phone can go right here. The cord can reach just fine. I love having this right here. That gets used pretty frequently. This boat's equipped with a jack plate. The switch is right here. Jack plate's really awesome. I'll pass on a little advice the dealer gave me. He said, put 20 hours on your boat before you even touch that switch. I did that. I came back and asked him why he told me that, and he said, because you're going to get yourself stuck. I was new to Southwest Florida when I bought this boat, and that was some pretty great advice, and I'm glad I took it. All right, up on the top here, I've got a nice little compartment. I've got some total essentials in here. I've got my VHF radio, binoculars, and of course a koozie, among other things, but that's what I store up in there. Let's take a quick look at storage up here in the driver's seat. I've got some shallow pockets, sun lotion, stuff like that fits good in there. I've got my throw cushion here. I always try to leave it in a spot where everybody can see it. I know I'm not doing a video on safety here, but keep your throw pillow in a spot where everybody knows where it is, and it's the first thing that goes in the water if trouble happens. All right, well, let's take a look at what's up in the bow here. One of the things that attracted me to this boat to begin with was this beam. That's a massive beam. I've had 4 guys up here before, and you're still able to fish. It's what attracted me to this boat was honestly the beam. Let's check out the storage here. So with that huge beam comes a ton of storage. You can see I've got 2 cast nets in here, beta chum, a bucket. I've got a cutting board in here, ton of space. So I think the favorite modification that I've made so far is the addition of these 4 rod holders. These rod holders are just Gemlux rod holders. They're backed with stainless steel plates. So I put these in by myself. To do that, all I did was cut an access hole here so that I could reach under. It was definitely a measure twice, cut once kind of project. I'm super happy with the results. One thing I didn't like about this boat, or there's no rod holders up here. I do have a rod holder right here. However, 30 degrees straight back. I don't know why they would put a rod holder like that. Note to Tidewater, that makes no sense at all to have a rod holder facing that way. It'd have been much better off being vertical. These ones are great. I love these, but the reason why I put the ones in the front was I wanted to get out from the boat a little bit more. Plus those are way too close together for real practical use of using both of them at the same time. One thing I did to try to make this useful is I bought this ram holder. So when I stick this in, I can actually fish with a rod in a position that might be beneficial to me. I had 2 of them, and a 30-inch redfish destroyed the other one, so definitely not the best solution, but at least I can get something out of it. Now that I got these sweet ones in the front, I don't need it anymore. I don't ever use this ram holder anymore. The other thing I don't like is I don't like the cup holders up here. Keep in mind, this review is coming from a fisherman. I use this boat 98% of the time for fishing. Those 2% where I'm going to the beach, maybe I'll use it, but I really don't like it. Right now it's holding some sweet Dr. Juice. So I've got the main storage here. I've got other storage here. I just got buoys and life jackets in this one. But nice and roomy. In the wings here, you've got kind of an odd shape in my opinion. It fits the boat well, but you can see I've just got some tackle in there. It's got a place for rod lockers, and this is locking. I find it to be too short for inshore rods, but maybe you'd use them if they were smaller. All right, so here's a cool feature in my opinion. Floor hatch. I use it for garbage. It was designed for a cast net, but what I don't like is for the cast net to get wet. You can see it gets dirty, but it certainly works great for what I'm using it for, which is a garbage. All right, let's check out what's under the seat. I've got a nice little bait well in here. I'll use this all the time when I have a lot of people on the boat, so we don't have to be running back and forth to get bait. The one trick about this is there is a flow nozzle here. It's dirty because I've been using it today. There's a flow nozzle here that you have to adjust a little bit so it doesn't overflow. Once you get it set right, it's perfect. Another good thing about this is it's insulated, so if you're not using it as a bait well, you can use it as an extra cooler. I mentioned I don't like the cup holders. This is a fishing boat. The reason I mentioned I don't like them is I can't keep them clean. It's a pain in the butt to get in there and scrub them out every time. If somebody has a solution for me on that, please let me know. I'd love to get like an insert. I know Gemlux makes a rod holder combo, and I really didn't want that because as you can see, I'm set. I got 2 there, I got 2 there. I don't need a rod holder there. So up in the bow here, this boat's got a Minn Kota Terova. It's the 112-pound thrust, 36 volt. System's been running great. I have had a little issue with the electrical cord where I had to just come in here and rework the electrical cord and put a little dielectric on it, but 2 years, this has got to be the toughest part of the boat. It's getting a pounding all the time. I use this boat pretty hard and put a little dielectric on there. That's no big deal. All right, so this is I guess the cabin compartment of the boat. I'm on the back side of the door. You can see 2 modifications that I've made. One is I just put in this area to put my Dankos. You always need that. I find this to be super handy. I also can put in some baits here. And then the second one is I put my charging plug right there. When I got this boat from the dealer, they didn't have that. And that's been obviously really nice, so I don't have to open up the door and go in and plug in my charger. Right here I've got a freshwater washdown. Pretty cool. Got a 30-gallon tank. That comes in super handy. This boat's got a JLA stereo system, which really can pump out some great music. I'm a fisherman. I wouldn't upgrade the audio. I think it's silly when guys go by in their bay boat that's just cranking it out, and they're never listening to Taylor Swift anyway, so why would I agree with them? But I do like what I have here, I think this is just the standard setup. Plenty good for me. Some speakers in the front, speakers in the back. I don't have a subwoofer, but like I said, I don't need that. All right, let's take a look at the back of the boat here. As mentioned before, I've got two 10-foot power poles. Those things are essential for out here. Love these power poles. They've been bulletproof. Hey, this boat has fold-up seats. They're pretty comfortable. And then you've got storage under each one. This boat actually has so much storage, I don't even use some of these, and I've been using this boat hard for 2 years. Really impressed with how much I can get in here. All right, I wanted to make sure I spent some time to show this option. This is one that I would really spend a lot of time debating if I were picking this boat out brand new, and that's the aquarium bait well. I love the way it looks. It lights up, it's huge, but it does take up some space, especially if you're sitting where I am now. This takes up some space. The alternative is you can remove this and have two trays or have room for trays and then have a roll-out cooler, and you get more foot room. I fish in a boat that has that. I do enjoy it, but I gotta say I have used this mainly as a live well. I've had tons of pompano in there, I've had huge groupers in there and snappers in there when I didn't have a bag of ice, and this thing worked perfect. I think right now it's a toss-up to me on which one I like more. You know, because I'm fishing so much out of this boat and not cruising, I don't think I need the leg room for back here. People aren't gonna sit here very often. I think I'd rather have the bait well, but it's definitely something to spin your wheels on, because there is a live well right here as well. And this is the primary well that I'm using. Again, we got some cleaning to do, but you can see it's a nice painted live well, big enough. I've had tons and tons of bait in here. I've had to replace the pump once, but it gets used hard. 2 years, 500 hours. I'm okay with that. All right, let's talk about rod holders for just a second. As you can see, I've got 4 up here in the top. I got 4 down here on the bottom. Those things are awesome, but I wanted a little bit more. And I added this one. This is an aftermarket that I bought. And if I were to do this over again, I would have bought the Kingfisher. The reason I bought this one is I felt like it would be good on nearshore reefs when I'm fly lining and that sort of thing, but I just don't like the angle of it. It's just too hard to get the rod out without giving the line back to the fish. I don't hate it, but I wouldn't do it again. It is a quality product though, and I got what I ordered. Let's take a look in the cabin. This might be a little scary. I did not prep for this video. I was just out fishing and thought, hey, I've got enough hours on this boat to share some thoughts on it. Let's make a quick video. So anyway, hope you like it, but that's the true story. So let's open up the cabin. So let's see, I got 3 modifications to show you here. Actually 4 if I count the Taylor Swift sticker. All right, so the first one is I just bought a little simple rack from some home store. I don't know what it is, but I just wanted to keep stuff up, and I didn't want anything that I couldn't remove easily. That thing has worked out amazingly well, and you can see I got a ton of stuff stored on it. Nothing's going to get wet, and I can see it all. I can see I got my cleaning equipment, which doesn't get used as much as it should. I've got my boat documentation, and then I put up here things that were a higher priority to me, which is a life jacket in case things get gnarly. And then on this side, my other modification is I just put a curtain in there. It was just the foam insulation, and that curtain, I'm housing my flares, and I've got a couple of fans in there that'll run when it gets super hot. So those fans just clip right onto here and really do a pretty nice job of a little bit of air conditioning. And then the last modification is I just put on this. The trick obviously was a very small screw, or just the perfect screw to get it in there. But I've got my knives here, some cleaning rags, and then every time I open it up, I say hi to Buddy. So that's the cabin in there. When they sold this boat, they had a porta potty in there. I'm 6'1", I'm not getting in there. You don't need that, that's just silly. Well, that's my walkthrough. That's the perspective from a fisherman. I'm not going to apologize for my boat being dirty. I was fishing today. I came in, I got a little sunlight left and thought, hey, I'll make this video. I've got enough experience on this boat now. Hopefully I can share it and help some people know that this is a fantastic boat for Southwest Florida, and I'm sure it'll work great in other areas. Well, if you found this video helpful, please hit the like button. Please subscribe if you like this content. This is a fishing channel first and foremost, but I just thought I'd share some of my experiences in a Tidewater after having it for 2 years. Like I said at the beginning, this video wasn't there when I bought this boat, and I think something like this might have really helped me. Feel free, put in the comments. I'll try to answer as many as I can if you have any questions on this boat or about what I'm doing with it. So check out my channel. Hope you stick around. Subscribe, it's free. That's a wrap. Let's head on in.